Good afternoon, folks. Today we're going to talk about another missile system. This missile system is probably a little bit less well known, but I figured we better talk about it. This would be the Talos Missile, RIM-8. So Talos was the Navy's long-range missile before the Standard Missile System and Aegis and all that. Came out of Project Bumblebee, which was like a 16-year program post-World War II to develop a long-range set of anti-aircraft and missiles for the U.S. Navy, which also developed the Terrier missile, the RIM-2. So Bendix, in addition with McDonnell, before McDonnell Douglas, produced the Talos Missile, RIM-8, and it was in service from 1958 or so through 79. I think it was first produced in 55. Anyhow, it used the AN/SPW-2 guidance radar and the AN/SPG-49 illumination radar, so had two very large old school radars set up in order to guide this thing. It used beam riding technology, which is a fairly simple technology, to get it near the target, at which point a semi-active terminal guidance radar would basically do the final stage of homing in on the target. To take out targets, it had a 465-pound warhead. That's big. That's a big old warhead right there. And if that wasn't enough, there were quite a few models that were produced with nuclear warheads, like 3 to 5 kiloton. So anyhow, there's some variation going on there. There's also versions that had greater range or lesser range than others. So as far as range goes, there was versions with between 50 miles of range and others that had closer to 130 miles of range, depending on the booster and how the ramjet was configured. So in actual service, this was on the Galveston class cruisers, which were upgraded Cleveland class, the Long Beach, USS Long Beach, and then also the Albany class heavy cruisers. In service, it shot down at least 4 MiGs. In 1968, they shot down a MiG at the range of 65 miles, which is, pretty impressive even for today. One last thing I'll point out, it was also developed as an anti-radar missile. Kind of interesting. It was one of the first, if not the first, U.S. surface-to-surface missile ever fired in combat in 1972 as the RGM-8H, and it was fired at Vietnamese radar sites. So it could also be used in the surface-to-surface role and also the anti-radar role. So interesting point there. So now you know a little bit more about the RIM-8 Talos missile.